questions? Say. It's the tree. Yeah, I say I've gone all the way around this in a circle with I've done teachings on the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and said that this is the devil without God. It's like I've been almost saying it without recognizing consciously to put it into those words that I did this morning. That he's actually trying to bring good to the earth, not evil. He's just trying to do it his way. Oh, and I got to say this too. His motivation isn't the same as God's. God's motivation to bring good to us is for our life, because he wants to do good to us. The only reason the devil wants to bring good to the earth, he doesn't care about us. He just wants to stick his finger in God's face and say, see, they're doing it my way. That's the only reason he's doing it. So don't think they got the same motivation. I'm not saying that. We could actually say this. Don't lose that thought. Okay? We could actually say this. The teaching that God is trying to teach you something with your sickness is actually a true teaching. We've just applied it to the wrong God. He's the God of this world that's trying to teach you something, not God the Father. Okay, what? That's a tough one. Do I think that he wants death? I think that's just a byproduct, because I don't think he wants death either.
I know, that's what I thought lots of times.
Well, it's right there. It's right there underneath your notebook.
She said if everybody died, there wouldn't be anybody to serve him.
That's right. It says he comes to steal, to kill. I thought of that this morning. He comes to steal, kill, and destroy. But what is he wanting to steal, kill, and destroy? See? Is he wanting to steal, to kill, and to destroy your ability to yield to God?
That's what he's doing.
See? He's trying to climb up some other way. Yeah. Because he wants to be God. So
God is God is to be a ruler. God is to be a ruler. So he wants to be God. Lucifer wants to be God because he wants to rule.
He wants to rule.
Our worship.
Right.
He wants his own kingdom
instead
of the Most High being God.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to take his place.
He wants to take his place, which means that, where it talks, now again, we're getting into stuff like the lake of fire and the brimstone burning with sulfur and all of that. Whatever that is, that's not where the enemy wants to go. That's not where the devil wants to go. But that may be, whatever your belief is on that, because now, what do you mean? Explain that.
I don't have great revelation on this, but I have thought before the lake of fire, our God's an all-consuming fire. So we've always thought the lake of fire was a bad thing, but if it's our God's an all-consuming fire, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. We start, like I said, all our concept, even of the lake of fire and everything, is from folklore. And we really, nobody's really done an intensive asking God what these things really mean, because we're just trying to make our lives on a day-to-day basis. You know what I mean? And probably the lake of fire has, whether you believe it's good or bad, probably has an influence in our day-to-day lives even now. But, as I said, I just got this concept, so I don't have the fullness of it yet. I think death is a byproduct of trying to do good, just like life is a byproduct of yielding to God. And I don't know if the devil wants us to actually physically die, or whether that's just a byproduct of it. See, and it's my contention, you don't have to take this, that he destroyed in the flood because they weren't trying to do good anymore. They were just doing evil. And he doesn't want that. He wants people to try to do good because he wants to ascend to God's place. And if he's trying to do evil, God's saying, so I can do that. I could do that. But that's not God's goal. The only way pride can manifest itself is if you're both going after the same goal. See what I mean? It doesn't work if somebody's doing one thing and somebody's doing something else. There's no pride involved. I can tell you like I said, the big bucks I've killed, and some of you are going to say, well, when's he going to get off of this? Who cares? But somebody who's a hunter, they'll love to hear it. And then the pride can work back and forth. Whoever's got the biggest one or got the best story or whatever, you know what I mean? But if nobody cares, you're going, you just killed my pride. Did you have something?
It's a total game changer.
It
Because
is.
now you don't fight death anymore or sickness anymore. And like you just said, you've danced all the way around it. For years we've been saying, don't do stuff in your own strength. Faith is hearing God's voice and doing what he says. Mm-hmm. But you still tried to fight death, or you tried to fight sickness, or you tried to fight whatever. Now when you find out that's not really the enemy anymore, that's the byproduct, it's a game changer completely.
That's
because
right.
now you're fighting wanting to do it in your own
that's
strength.
Right. See, now listen, I don't get feeling very often. You know that. But this really made me feel very weird inside. I could feel stuff moving, and it made me feel very strange. And like I said, it was almost bigger. It almost made me cry. It almost makes me feel, I don't think I can handle this. This is too big. And some of you may not, if you're thinking, what's the big deal? Then you're not getting what I'm saying. You're missing it. You're really missing it. But this is a big thing. And like you say, like I said, I felt a real shift. I felt it. That's big for me. I got a feeling. It was a big, big shift for me. And if the church could get this, if this gets out on the internet and somebody picks this up, somebody with an international voice, and I think God's speaking it anyway. And they're going to get it eventually. But like Kathy said, do we have to wait 15 or 20 years for it to get out? But this really resonated within me, that he's trying to bring good. He's not trying to bring evil. Masquerades as an angel of light. He's trying to bring the good. And we're fighting against the byproduct. See, we're fighting against the fruit, not the root.
This is what you've always said.
Yeah, I know. I went right around. I've gone completely circle around it, and I thought, God, I've almost even said it before. See, I used to believe that Satan was I've taught this, and not too long ago I said, if he can't get you with the evil, he'll try to get you with the good. Yeah, that hasn't been too long ago. But I got it just backwards. He's trying to get you to do good. The evil is the byproduct. And that's why Paul writes, and he said, the works of the law are, the works of trying to be good are adultery, fornication, murder, revelry, murder, whatever, all of those things. Yes, Kathy? Oh, okay. I thought you had something. Okay, Terry does.
I was just thinking, and I don't have the fullness of this thought, but and maybe you, I don't know, but anyway, I was just thinking about how, like, humanity, there's people want to do good for the most part. They want to do good, and then when the byproduct thing comes, that's when it's almost like that. When they turn into animals, it's almost like it's the animal. The byproduct is that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't explain it how I'm feeling it. But then I was thinking too, you know, how what you were just talking about, how the byproduct, like, you know, you got so many people in the pulpit, you know, we got to go after the gays and we got to go after the, you know, Iraq and, you know, all these. It's like they're trying to do good in that way of, like, you know, just bombing Iraq or Iran or whatever like that. They're trying to do good, and people think that's good, that's going to keep us safe, just like what you're saying. Or if all the gays would be put in jail, or, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's not going to fix it. It's what God says, and what God says to do is what's going to fix it.
Right.
You're always hearing that the church say that good will overcome evil. Well, good without God is never going to overcome
Right.
evil. And that's how this compounds is, just like you said in the 60s about the drugs and the free love and all that. That was just a group of people back then. That star has gotten dimmer and bigger.
Yeah.
And now now the drugs are just as bad as they ever were, but it's more accepted and it's on a grander
Right,
scale.
right.
So it's not shining as bright, but all this education that they push, they just want to keep pushing more and more education. Now it's against AIDS and safe sex and
Right.
and all that, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And like Brenda said, what Brenda just said was huge too. We got the revelation that death is the enemy, so we've been fighting death. Well, the world fights death, but the world is trying to fight death with good.
Yeah.
You know,
That's right.
what we need to do is, just like she said, we need to focus on not doing things in our own strength. That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's the focus just shifts. You know, the Bible does say that death is our enemy, but that's because it's a byproduct of trying to do good without God. So it is our enemy, but not, you know, it's almost like we're trying, sometimes, like I said, we're always trying to fight against the fruit. We're trying to fight against disease. We're trying to fight against, you know, death. We're trying to fight against all of the fruits of just trying to do good without God. That's what we're doing.
We're always still trying to do good with that.
Yeah, and we're going around and around, and so there's no change coming into the church. This thing just perpetuates itself with every generation.
I was thinking about, you know, like in the 60s, the peace and love movement, and even the Jesus movement that got distorted.
Right.
And it's like, it's all good ideas, but it doesn't work. What did it birth? It birthed the 80s. I mean,
Right.
and it was all me-centered.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's really big. If you go home and just think about this. Yeah, I can't eat. I couldn't almost either. It got so big, I told Kathy, I said, I don't know if I can handle this. I must be able to because God showed me, but it feels really, I feel really like this. You know what I mean? Like, I feel really little. Oh, boy, we got all kinds of people. 4 minutes.
I was just going to say that, like she said, this is a game changer. It's like, because you start reflecting on what you do on a day-to-day basis, you know, the good that you try to do during the day, no matter what it is. I mean, it just puts a whole new perspective on things, because we're always trying not to do evil. You know, we're always trying to hear God, what's evil, what's sin, what shouldn't we do? When we realize that the things that are evil in our life and the sin that's in our life is probably from trying to be good. You know, and isn't it inherent in all of us to want to be good? You want to be that
Yeah.
good kid, and it also distorts your view of God, because when you're not being good, you automatically think He doesn't love you anymore, when that doesn't have anything to do with it. So it is like a powder keg. I mean, this, if we can get a hold of this, just to try to implement it in, you know, just in the way we think, because the way we think is so backward compared to what you're saying. Even after walking with God all these years, it's like, here we go, we're going to have to rethink everything we think again, and let God wash our souls with the water of the Word, because this thing is, this thing is, it's not going to just leave overnight. It's like inherent deep inside of us. Because I know myself, when you get up in the morning and you want to hear God, you're thinking, okay, I want to do good today. I want to do the right thing today, not the wrong thing. And so that's what you're thinking all day. Okay, God, this must be you because it's a good thing to do. When it inherently can be something that you're just doing in the flesh so you can have that pride you did something good. I mean, when you think about it in the scale of things, it's too big. But when you think about it even in your own life, it's like it's too big too.
Yeah. But let me say this, because we are to do good. Okay, let me give you this illustration. You know, something that Brenda said last week, about worrying, why do people worry? And why do they get in fear of certain things? Or get anxious, or compete, or even pride or anything? It's not, you got to understand something. It's not whether we do good or not. It's who's the influence in getting you to do that good. Because see, here's where the trick is because the same good can come from either influence. In other words, you can worry or be in fear, and it'll motivate you to do something to bring good to your life. Or you can yield to God's peace and trust Him, and it'll bring the same good to your life. So it's not whether we do good or not, because we're supposed to do good. It's what is the influence in your life that's bringing the good to you. See what I mean? See, most people, the reason we worry is because we think that worry motivated us to bring that good into our life. Or we fear for things, even though many times it doesn't even happen. But you think that fear or that worry kept that thing on your mind enough that you were able to bring the good in. For instance, see, I have a hard time driving in the city. Anybody have a hard time driving in the city? See, I'm fearful when I drive in the city. And I worry. And I actually think that fear and worry is what gets me to get through the city. That if I didn't have that, I'd drive into somebody's back end or something, or I'd get hit, or I'd miss a stop sign or something. Because it causes me to focus so much on what I'm doing. See what I mean? Instead of trusting God to lead me through it. You see what I mean? I get the same result. And that's when the accuser says, see, Mike yields to my way more than he does yours. And he accuses me to God. He's yielding to my influence, not yours. I brought the good that you can bring, God, and I did it my way. I don't mind telling on me. City drive. I'm trying to get better, and I know. You're trying. No, I'm trying to yield to the peace of God when I drive in the city. And it hasn't been as bad. It used to be. It used to be I was so afraid I wouldn't even go. Here we go. Here's another example. I'd go around the city. When I went to Colorado, you know how I used to go? I didn't mind driving through Omaha as long as I was on the interstate, because there's no stoplights, no stop signs, no turns. It's a straight shot. All you got to worry about is hitting somebody or getting hit, and I can pretty much avoid that. So I would drive all the way up to Omaha just so I'd have a straight shot through the city. It's a whole lot quicker to go straight across to Lincoln. Have anybody been that way? Oh, yeah. But I had to go through some lights and some stop. So I came up with this brilliant idea one time that I would drive up. There's a highway just after you cross the river that goes straight up to, I think it's 34, and then that highway goes straight through Lincoln. And I thought, I can go that way. I don't have to make any turns or anything. I'll go up there and go straight through, and that'll cut some time off. Boy, was that a bad mistake. I didn't realize you have 14,000 stoplights to go through in Lincoln, and they're not synchronized. Go, stop, go, stop. So it took me even longer to go that way. And then finally one day I got the nerve enough to go on Highway 2, and I said, I'm going to do this. I said, everybody else can do it, I can do it. And so now I go that way, and it cuts about 30 to 45 minutes off than going to, but for years we went to Omaha just so I wouldn't have to drive through the city. That's how afraid I was. So I'm trying to yield better, but every time we yield to fear or worry or anxiety, I mean, I know you guys are in business. I mean, what kind of worries and fears does the enemy try to put on you to motivate you, to try to do certain things versus trying to trust God for it? See what I mean? But it'll bring basically the same result. But that's his goal, is to get you to yield to his influence so that he can say to God, see, I can ascend. I can ascend to the Most High. I can do it just like you can. Without you. Yeah.
I was just thinking too about the merismos and about dividing. And like I always thought, the spirit and soul. And I think, okay, it's dividing that soul part of us that does, throws fits and da-da-da. But it's the soul part of us that wants to do what it wants. It
Right.
wants to do what only God can do, but thinks it can do it.
Yep. It throws whole new opens your eyes to new concepts about, like, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against it. Our weapons of warfare not carnal. It throws open all the scriptures to what it can bring a whole new meaning now. When you go to read the Bible, you can get a whole new meaning out of everything now, because now you can see what the enemy's trying to do. Oh, and I did want to say this too. That's why when you read the Old Testament, there's so much death and destruction, is because the good kings were trying to bring good, but they didn't understand the spirit realm. They didn't understand God's real way of doing things. God commended them because they were trying to bring good. But I think it says in the book of Acts, the things that people did, God winked at, but he's saying now he's calling for men everywhere to repent. In other words, now you're going to have to change, and you're going to have to bring good my way, not the enemy's way. And so that's why you've got David and all of those good kings running out and destroying all those people, because they're trying to get rid of evil. Because they didn't know who they were listening to. He was the God of this world. And that's why Jesus said, now the God of this world is judged. In other words, now there's a separation. Now you know how to bring the real good by yielding to me and bringing, and yielding to my peace and the way that I do things. Yeah, now the axe is laid to the root. See, up until then, they were just plucking fruit. That's all you can do. And we're still doing that. For most of the church, and of course, the nations are doing that. That's why we're still having wars and killing people. We're still trying to pluck the fruit. It's never going to work. Never. And it just perpetuates the evil over and over again. And Satan's got it in his head that one day he's going to ascend to the most. One day he's going to bring good to people. And he's doing all kind of different things, pulling out every stop he can to try to say, see, I can do it my way. We don't need you. I can ascend and have people doing good with my influence. Yeah. The instead of Christ. That's right. So that was the big, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I don't know if I'm going to explain it the right way or what.
I know that feeling.
But like my insides are just like, I don't know. Our whole lives, like I feel like this is foundational. Like the wrong foundation is crumbling. Like the wrong foundation is being pulled out and being crumbled. Like as Americans, we're always taught to do the good thing in our own strength. Like we teach our children to make your decisions based on the good thing, and how you can achieve it. And it's just like, this is so connected to everything.
Yeah. Right.
I don't even have any more words
yeah.
besides that. Just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. I feel that crumbling too. I know what you're talking about.
It goes with your teaching. I do what I do not want to do, and I don't do what I want
Yeah.
to do. Because we talked about that with your kids. You're wanting your kids to serve God, but you're doing it in your own strength by trying to make them read the Bible or make them pray, and when God's not saying to do it at that moment or whatever. And so we do what we do not want to do, and we bring in the byproduct of evil, and we look at it and say our kids have turned out worse than the kids of the world.
Exactly.
by doing that.
Exactly. Think of how many really wicked people you find out their fathers were like Pentecostal preachers or were preachers or something. Yeah, and you know.
Even the crazy Wacos and all them,
Yeah.
they read the Bible, quoted
Yeah,
the Bible,
yep.
you know?
Absolutely.
And then also, saying you get the same thing both ways. That's what the devil did to Jesus in the wilderness. I'll give you all the kingdoms of this world. He's going to end up getting all the
Get
kingdoms
them
of
anyway.
this world anyway.
That's right.
But it's it's which place did they
Yeah,
come from?
yeah. Who motivated you to get it the way you got it? That's exactly right. It's big stuff, man. I don't know. It really shook me. So, and it's still shaking me when I think about it. Anybody else?
I just wondered is this part of the scripture that says the greater works will we do? I mean, it's like all of this things that we've always been trying to fight all of our lives is not what we thought it was. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yeah, like you say, this is beyond any words that you can even really put into it. But it's like Bill was saying, there's something that you feel the stirring inside of you. You know that it's so much bigger than what you can even grasp in your thoughts, But still, it's like those greater things will we do, because we begin to fight who we know the enemy really is, and it's like you said, it's where he's trying to exalt himself to be God, and all of this that's going on is we're falling into that play, But as we find out who he really is, then we come against that, and you teach other people.
I hope, man. I hope we get this concept, and I hope we start recognizing, and the church, and of course our lives, but we start recognizing. I just think it'll be a much more clarification of recognizing who's influencing us. I always think we knew that fear and worry and everything was from the enemy, but we didn't. We thought he was bringing that to us to destroy us. We didn't realize he was bringing that to us to bring something to pass, to accuse us to God for. You know what I mean? And to bring what God's trying to do on the earth. And I do want to make clarification, on the scripture that says he comes to steal, kill, and to destroy. If you start that, if you read the context, the very first scripture says, anyone who tries to climb up some other way. So in other words, he's trying to climb up doing the same thing that God does, and that's what he's trying to steal, kill, and destroy, is the door, which was Jesus. Because he said that's what you have to enter in by the door. Big stuff. Anybody else? Yeah, go ahead.
Well, we prayed. We knew this was going to be something big. I don't think we had any aspect of how big it is, but it looks to me like the only way we're ever going to be able to achieve this is by being like God. I mean, because how much time is it going to take for everything we do to discern, is this really good? I mean, is this just good from the tree of knowledge, or is this good from God? You're going to have to really weigh everything you do, because how are you going to tell someone who's doing good in every way they possibly can and and think that they're good Christians by doing that, how are you going to get them not to just hate you when you say, but that's not, you don't know if that's God or not? It's like, and how would you say that unless you know that you're like being like God and you're discerning yourself that this is really not from God.
I think it's. I know I kind of said we have to be concerned, but I think if you're in peace, and you're in joy, and you're not worried, and you're not in fear, I think you're pretty much on God's influence. Like when the guy came in and told Kathy, immediately there's probably an influence that tries to come in. Worry. Yeah. They want you now. So, yeah, and immediately you can start to worry. All right, now you've got a wrong influence. I mean, you think about it. They told Jesus Lazarus was sick, and what did he do? You see what I mean? He didn't get, but I better get over there, You see, and I think that's how we find out when we're really being influenced by the enemy and how much we're being influenced by God is when we're in peace, joy. In other words, all the fruit of the Spirit, when that's resident. In other words, when I can drive through the city with peace and joy and all the fruit of the Spirit, patience, loving kindness, long suffering, when I can do that, then I know I'm under God's command. See what I'm saying?
Yeah. One of the first things that happens when I hear this and this concept comes to reality is I begin to worry, oh my goodness, how many times all these years have I given over to thinking somebody was a good Christian because of whatever the good they did.
Uh-huh.
And it's like that takes away some of my peace. And I want my peace. I was just getting into a good place of peace here. Now you bring this up.
Sorry.
It makes understandable everything you've been teaching for all of these
Yeah.
years. It just hit me when she said that. How you've always said that, made fun of that, saying, why do bad things happen to good people?
Oh, yeah.
Now we know.
Now we know, yeah. That's right. I didn't think of that. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
We can do this all day long. I bet our brains are going to be going.
Okay, so
I hope so. I hope that's what I'm hoping.
I was
That's what
thinking
hoping.
about how Lazarus or Jesus, he waited, he stayed, and and then Kathy, that's what God said. No, stay, wait, and she waited on God. But then I also think about we can't get all like over on that side too. It's got to be we got to hear God, because when Jairus' daughter, he left right then. He went to go towards him, and see, he was listening to the Father. And so like if we have someone come in and say, we can't say, well, no, I need to stay because that's what we need to do. It's like we just need to hear God's voice and what He wants us to do. It can't be okay. Well, since Kathy did that, now we all have to do this if there's ever an emergency come. You know what I mean? Somebody's profusely bleeding. You know what I'm saying? But we just, okay, God, what do you want us to do? Do we lay hands? Do we pray? Do we go to the emergency room? What do you want us to do?
Right. Sure. It's like, see, because I see such a different type of a person in Jesus that I see in anybody else. The guy's asleep in the middle of a storm on a boat. And I'm thinking, that is not normal. It's normal, but it's not normal to humankind. The disciples are yielding to the enemy because they're worried and in fear. And they think that, and worry and fear will motivate you to do. How many people have delivered themselves with fear and worry?
Yeah.
It causes you to do,
It brings evil.
it causes you to do extraordinary things. But it brings evil eventually. And so I see such a different person in Jesus of no worry and no fear. And it's like every time people his disciples were worried, Jesus got on their case like, you guys aren't supposed to be worried. Why are you worried? You know? You see what I mean? I see such a different person. All I'm saying is, what's motivating you to do what you do? See? And we see Jairus going to Jesus, but we don't know the attitude that he went in. We read it and we put our own fear and attitude on it. He may have been completely confident, this is Jesus. I know who to go get. And he may have just in peace walked up and went to Jesus. We always read it as, oh, come help me. We don't know if that's what he said, if that was the attitude that he had. You know, the attitude of the centurion. See? No, you don't even have to come. See, this guy, it doesn't look like this guy's running to Jesus. Oh, help me, help me, help me. He's saying, you don't even have to come. I know your authority. That's what I see. See, that's what I see when I read the Bible. I see things that those things really stick out to me. When things are different like that, I want that. I want to be able to drive through the city in peace. I don't want to be stirred up and angry and, you know. But yet we do it so automatically. I do it so automatically. You know, we were coming back from Maryville the other night. It's been a while back. And when we went down, there was a car off to the side. Remember that? You know that long stretch north of Pickering and south of Hopkins? It's like, how long is it? Yeah. They're parked clear up towards the Hopkins end when it curves and you go across that little bridge. So when we're coming back, that car is still there, but now there's another car with its flashers on. I had some guy follow me all the way across that straight, right on my tail, and he decided to pass just as we went by that car. It's just automatic. It's just automatic. I just immediately, I'm thinking, you freaking idiot. Why did you wait? You could have passed 2.9 miles all this way, but you wait till I'm going. I had to slam on my brakes. Lucky the guy didn't hit me in the back end, because I don't like being sandwiched between two vehicles, and they weren't that far off the road. They were only like this far off the pavement. And all I need is some little kid or somebody to step out from that car, and they waited till right then to see, no thought whatsoever. And it's real easy just to react the wrong way. And I know God's saying, see, he's yielding to my way, not yours. Yeah, the devil said that, see. He's yielding to my way, not yours. Yes, I'm guilty. I am better with the headlight thing, though. That doesn't bother me anymore. Yes, James?
It gives a different meaning to, like when Jesus said, "Oh, you of little faith." You know, it's not, "Oh, you who don't believe." "Oh, you who don't listen to God." You know, and then when they couldn't cast out the demon, they are doing it like we're doing it today.
Trying to do good, aren't they?
Jesus is basically saying, listen to God, you know?
Yeah. That's why I say when you read the Bible, it'll open up. If you keep this, it'll open up whole new things when you read it. And you'll see even the Old Testament, all the stuff that's going on, you'll see what they're trying to do. They're just doing it the wrong way.
I was even thinking about when we are ministering to people, we've been so conditioned to give them, you know, even in our exuberance, to give them all these wonderful things that we've learned, but we're trying to be good.
Right.
We're trying to, I mean, it's not done maliciously or anything, but
No.
it's still, we're letting the enemy come in and influence every word that comes out of our mouth, because even though it's right words, it's still destructive because it's not God saying,
Right.
do it.
And not only is it's actually perpetuating evil. That's the bad. See, that's the part that gets you. Is if you were just saying something that just got blown off and didn't have any effect, that's one thing. But what happens is you begin to recognize you're actually perpetuating people to go the other direction. Yeah, you do what you don't want. You have to be really careful. And that's why I never do things unless God is saying to do them. And the pressure is out there, folks, to do something, to become big, I know preachers, they'll say, well, we're going to try this, and if it doesn't work, then we're going to try this, and if it doesn't work, we're going to try. And their whole ministry is that way. We're just going to keep trying different things. No mention of whether God's saying to do any of those. It's just we're going to try these things. But if God doesn't move on me, I do not move. And the pressure out there to move is tremendous in America. To do the minister thing. But I won't move unless God speaks. And I won't give a word. I won't do anything unless God speaks. If he speaks, I'll do it. Most of the time. I shouldn't say always. I have skipped sometimes. But I try to be obedient when he says to do something. That's what I mean. You see Jesus heal one man at the pool of Bethesda and then walk away and leave everybody. Right.
Would have gone and done, and that was a good thing to do.
Good thing to do,
But
wasn't it?
he knew better. He knew that
better.
it would perpetuate. It would actually kill them. It would actually hurt them.
Would actually hurt them.
If he went outside
That's right.
the perimeters of what God
Because
said.
none of them would have got healed.
Oh my God.
And yeah. Well, it would have ruined his ministry. Yeah, he'd have been done. It'd been over there. But see, don't think that thought wasn't coming to him.
That was the temptation.
That was there you go. There's the temptation, is to do the good.
I even think about like as a parent, even in my own
that's big
life,
stuff.
I have tried so hard to, I tried so hard to protect my children, and you do things and you don't realize you're doing things out of fear. You're trying to do the right thing, and you end up getting the byproduct that you didn't intend because you're trying so hard to do right. And I think about people, backslidden people. My own life, I did this. You try so hard, and you're doing the God stuff, but you're not doing it by God, and you end up doing things you never imagined you'd ever do.
Exactly.
You wonder, what the pressure was at Gethsemane then. Instead of going to the cross, could I just stay and keep ministering the way? Because look at all the good that I've been doing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you wonder, really, what was that temptation that was going through his head to do good instead of to go to the cross?
Right. Yeah. And that's what the Pharisees did. Come down, then we'll believe you. Do good, then we'll believe you. Right there. That's what I mean. Every time he's tempted, it's to do good. And so that's why I think the enemy is out there to try to bring good on the earth his way. Not for our benefit, but just so he can ascend to be the Most High. Okay? Have a nice day. Have a nice day. Yeah, I know. I know. Okay, nobody has anything else? Okay. Well, Father, once again, we thank you for the concepts that you give us. And Lord, I just ask you to give understanding to those on the internet that, God, we're not trying to get way out in left field. We're trying to bring about a people with distinction that yield to you, because when we read Jesus and Paul and Peter and we read their lives, I see distinction in their lives as they go about their business. And Father, you want a people like that. Not just a few people, you want a church like that. And so, God, I just thank you that this is another key, and I think it's a big shift in how we minister and how we think and what we're doing. And God, may this stick with us. Not that we even today had itching ears and we wanted to hear something, but that, God, that it goes in and it satisfies the itch. You know, it creates in us a concept that we'll carry with us for the rest of our lives. And we'll actually be able to walk more in your influence rather than the enemy's. And I really feel, God, that as I speak into that internet, the church needs to get this. And God, I'm sure that you're speaking this across the earth, and that you will get this video into the hands of those who need it. And that, Father, it will go forth. And I just thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.